Welcome back to another episode of the Higher Alignment Podcast, where high performers come to grow without stress, shame, or burning out. I'm Minh-Thu Lam, and I'm here to help you work smarter, live fuller, and feel like yourself again. If you're tired of running on empty, book your complimentary assessment call at higheralignmentconsulting.com/program, and let's figure out what's draining your energy and what you can do to start feeling happy and peaceful once again. You can find the link in the show notes. Now let's get into the episode. All right, everybody, welcome to my birthday episode. I didn't know I was going to do this. It just came to me last minute, but tomorrow, by the time this releases, tomorrow is going to be my 37th birthday. And 36 honestly was one of the best years that I can remember. Like probably the best year of my adult life. And not because it didn't have any challenges or any like hard moments, but because it was just a moment. It was just a year of feeling like things really shifted for me. And, there's a quote I heard a long time ago that goes, some seasons you're asking the questions and some seasons you're living the answers. And I felt like 36 was a season of like finally realizing and seeing through a lot of these answers that I had been seeking for so long, and they finally not like actually played out in my life, which was really incredible. And that's not to say again that there wasn't any challenges or any hard moments, but it was just a really incredible time. I had a really incredible year and I'm really grateful for it. And so I wanted to reflect on that today and share it with you guys. Some of the biggest takeaways I had from 36 in hopes that it'll help you. But I'm in Alberta, Canada. It's the middle of summer. And for anyone who's not Canadian, we value our summers heavily, especially where I'm at, because if we're lucky, get 4 months of summer. Usually it's more like 3, and the rest of the year is transitioning into winter, long ass winter, transitioning out of winter, short ass summer. So summer is just a time we feel like we have to capitalize on, okay? Just because we don't get much of it. And this summer has been different for me. I'm looking at things differently. I'm reflecting on them differently. And it's probably more reflective for me because it's my birthday as well too, So it's, usually that's what a birthday is in numerology, your birthday is your new year. So instead of just following like the Gregorian calendar of January 1st or the lunar calendar, which is in the spring, in numerology, your new year is your birthday. So it's a time of reflection, just like any other, we would do at New Year's time. So for me, it's probably a little bit more so than most people. But it has been really fascinating to see how this last year played out. This summer in particular is my first summer of really kind of being in the motions of my business. Last summer, it was still me like really trying to figure things out. This year, it's like I've kind of gotten things rolling and I understand things and I can see the systems playing out and stuff, which is cool. But I'm also, in this incredible relationship with the most incredible man who like is everything I prayed for, really. And know that sounds cliche, but he's an incredible partner. And it just feels like things are clicking. And again, that's not to say that there aren't hard moments or tough conversations being had or days where I maybe have anxiety or I have a bad sleep. Like I am still human. I'm not exempt from any of that. But the way I move through it is completely different than I have in the past. And I feel like I'm living the life today that I prayed for years ago. And I had no idea how I would get to this point, but now it's here. And it's just, I wanted to take time to acknowledge that for myself. And again, share it with you guys in hopes that it helps. So I summed up kind of like the 5 biggest lessons I've taken away from 36. And I was going to share that with you guys today. Now, the interesting thing is so I refer back to numerology often. Just so you guys know, I don't follow it like strictly, or like I'm not an avid follower, but I do pay attention to it because there is undeniable evidence of how numerology affects our lives and our world and is how our our world is designed. And so 2025 is actually a 9 year, because if you add 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5, that equals 9. And 36 is also a 9 year. Okay. So 9 represents completions, an ending of patterns, an ending of cycles. Okay. And it, right. So what that means is if you're really paying attention to the lessons at hand, you should be finishing up a lot of karmic cycles and patterns that have been playing out in your life. And that has absolutely been the case for me. Okay. This last half of 36 and the beginning of 2025, when the 9-9 energy was really strong in my life, it's like so much that I have been working on for like the past 10 years, honestly, has like really started to wrap up in the most beautiful way. And so you can also look at that for yourself. 2025 is going to be a 9 year for everybody. So that energy of endings and cycles is going to be in your life. But you could also look at the numerology of how old you are, which you just want to add up those numbers. And then that will tell you a little bit more about what the lesson is specifically for you. That's easy to find online. Just look it up. But so yeah, I've been seeing that play out heavily in my life. And I got to tell you, I'm really glad. I'm really happy that a lot of these patterns are starting to play out. And that's not to say that there's not going to be new ones, or, that's life. I know different lessons are going to come down the path. But some of these lessons have been very hard for me. And just to know that, I'm rounding the corner on them feels really, really good. So I'm going to lay out the top 5 lessons that I pulled from 36. And hopefully this helps you guys. So number 1, always speak your truth or feelings, especially to your loved ones. Now, this might sound like it's not a big deal, but for me, that has always been really hard. And I don't even know in the past if I realized how hard it was. Whenever I felt hurt by something or I needed something, I would always negotiate with myself on whether I should say something or not. And I talked about this on an episode a little while ago, about this incident me and my boyfriend had, where he had answered the phone in the bedroom and I was still sleeping. And, I wanted to talk to him about it after. And I negotiated in my head for 30 minutes whether I should tell him or not. And when I finally did, he was like, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you brought this up. I'm so glad you told me. Not a big deal." Like it was like so easy to have the conversation with him. But I cried, not because of anything he did, or not because of I was concerned about the relationship, but because it was so uncomfortable for me to speak up for myself. Okay? And this is a common thing I see with my clients. Um High performers, not just high performers, people in general, but especially high performers, we're so used to being able to handle things and having a larger capacity than most when it comes to output, when it comes to just managing ourselves or discipline, where we're very quick to be like, it's not that big of a deal. I can handle it. Like, I just don't even want to say anything, because either we think the other person can't handle it, or we don't want to ruffle any feathers, or it's just easier if we just take it on. And I have seen over the years how that's taken a toll on me. It burnt me out. It made me subconsciously question myself. It made me not as confident in myself, or not as trustworthy in myself, because there is this very real feeling and need that wanted to be expressed below the surface, and I would just constantly shut that down. It's the same as like if you have a 5-year-old, if you have a son, a daughter, a niece, a nephew, and they're constantly asking you for like, "Hey, I need a drink," or "Hey, I need a break," or "Hey, I need a hug." And every time they do that, you go, "Shh, no, you don't. You're fine. Shh, no, it's okay. You don't need that. Don't worry. Just go play." Like, just, you know, disregarding what they need. Well, eventually that 5-year-old's going to be like, "Why am I coming in? Why am I even coming to you anymore? You don't listen to me. You don't trust that when I say I need a drink that I actually need one." Like, so there's no trust in that relationship, right? And so every time I would downplay my needs or downplay my truth, it would eat away at me without me even realizing. Okay. And what I've been practicing this last year is that when something comes up, I speak on it. And that can feel scary at first if you're not used to doing it. Your mind will trick you into why this is ridiculous. You know what I mean? So when in that moment when I had to ask him like, "Hey, can you not take a phone call from the bedroom?" My subconscious was like, "Oh, you're going to sound like not a supportive girlfriend. You know this was a really important call for business. Like you're going to sound like you're complaining. It's not a big deal. You'll get over it. You don't need to say anything." Like, it will tell you all these stories. But that's just protection. That's your nervous system protecting you, saying, "Hey, we haven't spoken up our needs for 30 some years. Why do we need to start now? We're alive. That's all we care about," right? That's protection. But when you can start to override that, and it's going to take regulating your nervous system to do that, and you start to speak your truth, I can tell you from firsthand experience, my life has only gotten better. All right, if you're a burnt out executive or high performer, chances are you're on a 3 to 4 month cycle of burnout, meaning the first few months you're high energy, productive, and making it happen. And then once that third or fourth month sets in, you're exhausted, irritable, snappy, and ready to give it all up. Now, there are two main reasons you get stuck in this cycle that no one talks about when it comes to stress management information out there. So I've put this together in a short video called The Real Reason You're Burnt Out. I've put it in the show note links, so take the 12 minutes to watch this video and let this be the first step to you getting off this hamster wheel of burnout. All right, guys, back to the episode. It has gotten better because the people around me understand me better, because I understand myself better, right? So now they're not trying to figure me out, or they're not trying to one of the biggest things is I used to pretend I didn't need help when I really did need help. So now instead of subconsciously resenting someone beneath the surface because they're not helping you, I know how to just say, "Hey, I need help. I don't know how to do this." And they're more than happy to do it instead of me trying to play tough guy and act like I don't need it. And then beneath the surface, again, burn out, not trust myself, silently resent them, end up depressed, whatever the case is, right? Every time I've spoken up my truth or my feelings, I have gotten better feedback. My relationships have gotten stronger. I feel more free because I've expressed myself. I trust myself more. I feel more confident. Like my life has gotten so much better because I've just learned to speak up. And the other great thing about speaking up in the moment when something bothers you is you free yourself of it. So once you get it out, while it might be uncomfortable in the moment, it's going to save you so much brain damage and bandwidth because you're not holding it beneath the surface. Like it will, every time you hold on to it, the long-term effects of that is brutal. The impact is way more. So something that might be an uncomfortable conversation now, but you have it and you can let go of it within a couple hours. If you didn't have that conversation, you might be thinking about it 4 years later. Think about the energy, the time, the mental space, the emotional space that's robbing you of, the joy, the connection that it's robbing you of by just not freeing it in the moment. So, speaking my truth, speaking my feelings, the more I do it, the easier it gets, right? At first, it was really hard. Now I can do it and I don't necessarily have to cry, right? Or be scared or negotiate with myself as much. I still do it from time to time, but it's getting a lot easier and I'm getting a lot better at it, right? I'm more calm when I do it. I articulate myself better. It helps Thomas understand me so much better. Like just 10 out of 10, it's had the most positive effect on my life. Okay. And so if you're hearing me say this and you're thinking about a specific situation, you're like, "Oh, but if I say that, it might ruffle this person's feathers, or they might have a blow up and they won't know how to handle it." Like that's all a story. That is all a story in your head that your subconscious is trying to tell you to prevent you from doing something different, which is speaking up for yourself. Okay. It's fictitious. It's not real. Is there a real possibility that my person might not respond? Like ideally? Yeah, of course that's possible. Is there also a very real possibility that it's going to go even better than you expected and lead you to a completely different outcome that you didn't even know was possible? Also, just as possible as the other side. So if you've been holding everything in for a while and you know that it's like, you know, in your heart, it's not the best solution because you're either burnt out or depressed or resenting someone, try something different. Okay. Try something different and regulate your nervous system in the process, because it will be very hard if you just try to do it on sheer willpower alone. Okay. You're going to need a little bit of that. But if you regulate your nervous system as you do it, it's going to make things much easier. If you're not sure how to regulate your nervous system, I did an episode on this a few weeks ago. Just go back and listen to it. It is episode number, let me pull it up for y'all right now. It is episode number 38. Okay. So lesson number 1, always speak your truth and feelings. Lesson number 2 from 36 is simplify. Mainly your goals, okay? I have, like every other type A personality, always been the person that feels like I need to do it all, right? I need to be great at my business. I need to be the best girlfriend. I need to be the best daughter. I need to be the best friend. I need to be working out 5 days a week. I need to be the best dancer. Like, I need to be able to do it all, because that's what high performers do, right? Okay, yeah, but it's going to cost you something. Like, what I've come to terms with now is I can't do it all. Okay. Not all at the same time, anyways, and not to the same degree. Can I be sufficient in everything at once? Yeah. Like, I have a certain baseline of discipline and outputs that I have. But can I be like 100 at everything? No. No, I can't. And guess what? If you try and think that that's how you have to run your life, everything is going to suffer. Versus if you can simplify to what's really important to you at this time and you just dial in on those and double down on those, you will feel way more inner peace. You will get further in those things than you would have if you tried to do it all. And you're just going to feel better. You're going to get more wins. You're going to feel more confident. And then guess what? As you raise your baseline and standard in those specific areas, and you're like, hey, I kind of got this under the books. Now you can tackle something else. Okay. So for me this year, my goals were my relationship and my business. If anything doesn't fall into line with those two things, it's probably going to be a no. Okay. And I actually just listened to Kevin O'Leary on the Diary of a CEO podcast the other day, and he talked about signal and noise. And he talked about Steve Jobs and how, and like Elon Musk and, you know, these big business guys, and how they're really good at determining whether something is signal or whether it's noise. And so obviously signal is that's what you want to move towards, and noise is just something to distract you. But it doesn't just have to be in business. It can be anywhere in your life, right? So for me, relationship and business, like, and so what that meant is I don't spend as much time with my friends. Okay. Now for me, this was the right choice that I had to really reconcile with me, because I know I'm a good friend. I have spent so much time with my friends over the past 10 years. I have the most incredible girlfriends, and like lots of them, and like deep, genuine relationships, like not surface level girlfriends, like really deep ones. And I haven't seen as many of them this year or talked to them as much, because the reality is that time that I used to give them has now shifted to my relationship. But my relationship is really important to me. It's something that this type of relationship I have prayed for, I have worked towards for so long. And now that it's here, I need to make sure I really cultivate it. Right. So my friendships, the time I spend with them has had to take a back seat because I've been focusing on business or my relationship. And simplifying has again given me so much more inner peace, has made me really dialed into the two things that are most important to me right now. And this is the season I'm in. And while those two things are always going to be like top priorities, eventually I'll get to a point where I'm ready to work that back in, or I'll have these dialed in to a point where I have more capacity to now bring those friendships back into the mix to the same degree. Or maybe I won't. I don't know. But the point in this lesson is you don't have to do it all, and no one's expecting you to. You're the only one putting that pressure on yourself. Okay. So everything's going to have a trade off. And what's worked for me is I've picked two and I stay in those lanes, and anything else is usually a no unless I can incorporate one of those two into it. And that has worked for me. It saved me brain damage. It saved me emotional turmoil. It helps me sleep better at night. And I just feel really good about where both those things are progressing to. It's fulfilling me. It's giving me purpose. It's making me feel supported and loved. And again, like everyone else also has their own things. So don't make yourself suffer through the things that you think you need to be doing. Okay. Which leads me into lesson number 3, which is no one cares about your shit except you. Okay. Like no one cares about your goals except you. Like, and this is what made this lesson come up. So I was driving home from Thomas's house one day. He lives an hour away from me. And I hadn't gotten a lot done work-wise that week. And I think it was about the end of the month that was coming up. This is a few months ago. And my immediate high performer brain pumped in and I was like, oh my God, I'm behind on this and I'm behind target on this. And I really wanted to finish at this for this month. And like, I could feel my chest starting to tighten and I could feel my stomach starting to turn. And then I stopped and I'm like, you are the only one in this car right now. No one even knows this is going on. No one even knows your goals exist. No one even cares about your goals. So why are you making yourself suffer right now? Like you are physically making your body stressed right now because of some words in between your head that no one even knows exists. Like self-sabotage, self-suffering, all self-inflicted. And I was like, I'm crazy. Like, why am I doing this to myself? It's like the equivalent of taking like a dull butter knife and just like trying to give yourself a paper cut, or actually worse, taking a piece of paper and giving yourself a paper cut. Every time you do that, it's like, why? Why? And I get it. It's like sometimes we got to be motivated, we got to be ambitious, we got to drive, we got to be hungry. Like I'm not taking that away because I know a lot of you listening here are wired that way. I'm not trying to dull my ambition. I'm not trying to dull what I want to accomplish with my business. But I don't need to suffer to the point of making myself physically sick, right? And that's the thing. We normalize this anxiety feeling of a pit in your stomach or a tight chest or short breathing. Oh, it's just all normal. No, it's not. It's not. Is it normal in the sense that it happens frequently? Yes. Is it like should that be your acceptance of your everyday life? Absolutely not. So I had to stop and ask myself, like, is this worth it? Like, is stressing myself out this worth it when no one gives a fuck? Literally no one. Like you could sit there with your 5 best friends and say like, hey guys, these are my goals for this month. And guess what? They're going to support you. They're going to tell you, we love you and we know you can do it. You got this. But guess what? As soon as they leave your little coffee date after you told them, they're going to go back to worrying about their own stuff. They don't got time to worry about your goals. They don't, right? And it's the same thing if we're trying something new and we're like, what if I fail? Or what if, we're always so scared of what others might think. But like, no one has time or capacity to care about your shit. And that should give you peace and relief. Because guess what? That's free reign to fail. That's free reign to take some pressure off yourself. Like when I sat in that car, I'm like, no one cares, Minh-Thu. Like, no one cares what you closed for this month. No one cares how many clients you brought in. No one cares the trajectory you're growing at your business at because they got their own things to worry about. Okay? So like when you get caught up in all this internal pressure, like check yourself and say, is this actually helping? Because I'm the only one doing it to me. And that's something I've been checking myself on more and more lately. When I get into that spiral, because I am not exempt from it, it still happens. I just check myself a lot faster. Is putting myself into this super anxious state worth it? Is it going to help me get my work done any faster? Is it going to make me feel better about this part of my life? You know what I mean? Because I'm at a part of my life where I want longevity. Like I don't want to have to ever retire from my business. I want to do it as long as I can. I obviously don't want to retire from my relationship. I want this, I don't want either of us getting out of this alive. You know what I mean? Like I want this to be, forever in this lifetime anyways, or so it's like So what's going to make a more enjoyable journey? You beating yourself up all the time, which then bleeds out onto all the people around you, or you just realizing, I'm going to figure this out and I don't need to make myself suffer in the process. Okay. Lesson number 4. This was a big one for me. You can tell how much you love yourself by the type of partner you choose. Now, for anyone who's been a close friend of mine, this is a lesson I have struggled with pretty much my entire adult life. And I've talked about self-love before. I've talked about I've understood the concept of like the relationship with yourself determines the relationships around you. But it didn't click for me, honestly, till the beginning of 36, like the end of 2024. Okay. When I go back to like patterns ending. And I realize that every relationship I've had up to the one I'm currently in right now has been a reflection of how I treat myself. And most of my relationships have ended up in betrayal or honestly, it's just betrayal. And some of that's with like with other people. Sometimes that's just a betrayal of like, I just can't trust you anymore. Like misleading, like it's been varying degrees of it. And, for the longest time, it was so easy just to blame the other person and be like, oh, well, they're just like, they're this and they're that and whatever. But after a while, it's like, there's a pattern here. And so your relationships are a mirror back of how you treat yourself. So it's like, okay, so if I'm seeing betrayal come up often, all the time, then where am I betraying myself? And it simply came back to that, like, point number 1, I was never honoring my truth or my real feelings. Like I was constantly downplaying them for somebody else cuz I can handle it, right? I can deal with it. I'll do this because I can and they're more stressed out. I'll deal with it instead. Like I was constantly sacrificing my truth and my feelings for other people. But then it's like if you really love something, you wouldn't want them to do that. So again, to me, the easiest way to personify it is like as a child. So it's like going back to the basics. If a kid tells you, "Hey, I need a hug right now," like, are you gonna just say, "Oh no, no, that's not actually what you need," like just ignore it? And they're like, I need love. And if you know love and that hug is going to do so much for that kid in that moment, it's going to calm them down. It's going to make them feel loved and seen and heard. You're going to give them that hug because you love them. That hug is a resemblance of you love them. If you go, no, I don't want to hug you right now, well, that's not really a demonstration of love. So then if we take it back to ourselves and we're saying, hey, my feelings are hurt. I want to be heard. I actually need some help right now. Can someone give me help? Every time you downplay that in yourself or you ignore it, you're essentially telling yourself you're not worthy of being supported, of being loved, of being heard, of being treated well. And that's what was happening. Like I didn't love myself, and not in a way where I could sit in front of the mirror and say, I love you, Mintu, in a way of like how I was treating me. Like I was really hard on myself all the time. I was never asking myself how you are. Do you need, or how are you? Do you need anything? I was never giving myself one-on-one time, like time to reflect, and I was not self-accepting. I was judging anything I could about myself, like you need to lose weight, you need to do this better, you need to make more money, you change your hair, whatever. Like constantly judging myself. And it's like that's not how you treat something you love. I'm big on saying like this whole self-care movement that's out there right now. It's like bubble baths and going to the spa and getting Botox and going on vacation and like cool, those things are great. But if you're going to the spa and going on a shopping spree every other weekend, but in your head you're still saying like you're lazy, you're weak, why do you like just suck it up? Like that's self-abuse. Like I compared it to like saying that's like if you that's like dating the rich guy who buys you everything, but then he cheats on you all the time. It's like, well, how good is your relationship? Right? It's the same thing with ourselves. So like in the past, I was just not treating myself like I would treat someone I actually love. Like I would treat my niece and nephew or my mom and dad or the person I was even dating. I treated everyone else so much better than I treated myself. And again, not with clothing and spas and all that stuff. It was how I showed up for myself, honoring commitments to myself, not lying to myself, not saying I'm fine when I'm not, asking myself how I am, giving myself one-on-one time, like those things, the things that actually show commitment and love to someone. I wasn't doing that. And so I heard this saying of, you can tell how much you love yourself by the type of partner you chose. And like having Thomas showed up in my life just shows me how much work I've done in this department, because he treats me like I've never been treated like this in my entire life. And that's not from like a he buys me all the gifts, like not from like a love bombing place, but from like he just shows up for me every damn day. And when I'm having my ugly moments, and when I'm cranky, and when I'm having a breakdown, and when I'm PMSing, like he just shows up for me in his raw, authentic ways, and just like has my back no matter what. Like to me, it's showing me that I've done the work, because I have. Like before he showed up, I really had to check myself on this. I had to start talking to myself nicer. I had to start honoring the commitments to myself. I had to start speaking my truth and expressing my feelings. I had to start saying no to anything that wasn't doing that for me, right? Like saying no to the things that were not honoring those things in me, like axing those energies out of my life. I had to do that all up to leading up to him. And now that he's here, it's shown me the growth I've done. And like, guys, when I say like lessons ending, this is something I have worked at avidly for the last 10 years. And, again, there's always going to be deeper lessons. I'm not saying I'm completely in the clear, but turning the corner, it is the most rewarding thing. And it all came because I just started treating myself better. Like as simple as that. Treat yourself better, take care of yourself, and everything around shifts. And that leads me to lesson number 5, which is every time I've chosen myself, my life has gotten better. Hands down. Professionally, personally, every time I choose myself, my life has gotten better. And this was so uncomfortable at first, so uncomfortable, because we're not taught this. We're taught to self-sacrifice. We're taught to put everyone else before us. We're taught to people please. Like we are not taught to take care of ourselves and honor ourselves. And like on a side note, we're not taught it, and society doesn't really support that or speak on it, because we're easier to control when we're dysregulated. We're easier to control and manipulate when we're out of sorts and not sure of ourselves and not confident. And so from a perspective of the government and all these big organizations, it works better for them. Okay. So it was so uncomfortable to do this at first, but when I started choosing myself, man, did life get better. More freedom, more abundance, more time, more love. I can't even, I can say this to you, but you won't get it till you've done it. And that might be the truth of all these lessons. I can tell you guys all of this today, but until you're living it, you won't fully get it. But steal my confidence, steal my faith and my belief in this when you start to put yourself first and really use that as your compass. Your entire life will change for the better. And that doesn't mean you aren't going to still need discipline. That doesn't mean you aren't going to still have trade-offs. I don't just get to pick to kick up my feet every single day and not have to do any work. I still have to do work. I still have to, build a business. There's still work that goes into cultivating a foundation in a relationship. That still is all going to be there. But I'm not doing it from a place of I feel like I have to. I'm doing it from a place of I know this is where I'm supposed to be and this is exactly what I want to do. And both of those are feeding a better version of me. I'm not having to downplay who I truly am in either of those relationships. I'm not having to sacrifice my truth or my feelings. I'm not having to take care of things that I don't want to take care of. Both of those things, the business and my partner feed back into me in the most supportive and uplifting way, right? And that's because I've started to put myself first, and therefore everything around me in my ecosystem has adjusted to do the same, right? And not at the sacrifice of them either. It's mutually beneficial. But I'm telling you with every fiber in my being, when you start to put yourself first, life gets better. And the universe goes, okay, now she's starting to treat herself like something of value. Now she's starting to see that she's actually worthy. Let me feed this. Let me support this. Let me confirm this for her, because my belief is the universe, God, whatever you believe in, wants us to be more abundant and experience all the love we can. Like, I truly, truly believe that. And the only thing that's stopping us from experiencing that is us getting in our own way, right? There's going to be some tough things that happen in life. We're all going to run into challenges. There're going to be things that we don't understand, right? But if we hold on to those, if we play the victim, if we keep disregarding our needs and our truth, we're just going to keep running the gauntlet of the same pattern. And it wasn't easy for me to get to this point. I had gotten to the point of being like, well, what I've been doing isn't working. Sacrificing my needs, not speaking my truth, putting everyone before me, it's not working. Yeah, I've gotten some results out of it, but at the end of the day, I'm burnt out and I'm not really happy. So let me just try it the other way. That's how I ended up learning all this stuff. Let me just try something different than what I've been doing before. What do I got to lose? And boy, my life has just, again, 36 was one of the best years of my life. And again, not because there wasn't any challenges. I dealt with some shit this year. I did. But it's just a different way of living. My standard of living has increased 100-fold from where I was a couple years ago. And it just shows me that, like, when you get out of your old programming, when you trust the process and just take one step forward at a time, life will open up in ways you could have never imagined. Period. And so wherever you're at right now, whether some of that stuff related to you or not, you know, we always have a chance to start different today. Like, you can listen to this now and be like, I'm going to choose something different today. And that's all it takes. You just have to make the decision. You don't got to wait till your birthday. You don't have to wait till New Year's. Like, you don't have to wait to do something different. You can just start today. And it's baby steps. It's one step at a time. I didn't wake up and then hear this lesson in my head and just start living out all this stuff. Like, it took me years to get to this point of understanding it. And that's why I wanted to share it, because hopefully, if you're a little behind of where I am, you can, again, borrow some of my confidence, borrow some of my experience to know that you're on the right path. But like, with every single one of my clients, I preach to them the same thing. My whole program is built around like what happens when you actually start to put yourself first. And 10 out of 10, they all see the same results. Life shifts in mysterious ways to open up new opportunity. They feel more confident. They feel more at peace. They're back to having fun and experiencing joy. They're in a place where they can take bigger risks and take bigger leaps of faith because they have the confidence. Like, it's incredible what opens up when you get out of your own way. So I'm turning 37 tomorrow, which means it's the start of a new cycle, right? 37 is back to that fresh energy, that fresh start. And I can't wait to see what happens. And again, I'm eventually going to get to a point of having a new set of lessons, but it's been really incredible to live out this answer, this season of living the answers. And so whatever you're dealing with right now, maybe you are in a season of asking questions, maybe you're living out the answers too. Just know that you need both. You have to have periods of asking questions, and then you have to have periods of having the answer. That's the cycle of growth, the cycle of life. And every time you do that, you level up. Question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. And that's the cycle of growth, right? But just, if you can, try not to suffer too much in the process, because it's all about the journey. And I know that sounds so cliche, but there's no destination point. The only destination is one day we all die, right? And so in the meantime, just design the path how you want it. And I'm not going to sit here and say too that it has to be happy and peaceful. Like if you want to suffer the whole time, by all means, knock yourself out. Like if that's really what you want. I'm going to wager a large amount of money that that's not what you actually want. But if you want to suffer and you want to play the victim for the rest of your days, knock yourself out. Right? But it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't. And I've had some dark days the last 10 years. I've had some moments of just staring at the ceiling saying, is this it? How do I find my way out of this? Am I going to be in this cycle forever? And, as long as you're just committed to yourself, because that's the only person you really got to stay committed to is you, honoring that relationship with yourself, making sure that the person that you show up first and foremost for is you, you'll find your way. And those answers will come sooner than you think. So that's it for my birthday episode. Next time you hear from me, I'm going to be 37, whoop whoop, and we'll see what the next year holds in store. All right, guys, thanks for tuning into another episode of the Higher Alignment Podcast. If you got something out of this episode, I would ask that you please go subscribe and leave the podcast a 5-star review so that it can help find its way to other people who are having a hard time and need support. My mission in life is to help executives realize that you don't need to suffer in silence while still performing at a high level. I want to help free people of the heavy pressure they carry on a day-to-day basis, and having more people listen to this podcast will do just that. So wherever you listen to this, please go leave it a 5-star review, hit subscribe so you never miss another episode, and we'll see you in the next one.